Welcome to this explainer. We're about to unpack a truly powerful coaching session that is going to fundamentally change how you look at running your business. Look, if you're an entrepreneur who constantly feels like you're running on empty and there just literally aren't enough hours in the day, you are going to want to pay super close attention to this. We're breaking down a complete masterclass on how to shift your perspective, tweak your daily habits, and actually transition from a stressed out solo operator to a true CEO.
So I want you to ask yourself this, and I mean be brutally honest with yourself here. Are you the bottleneck in your own business? Think about it. If you're missing out on family dinners, constantly grinding through the weekends, and just completely drowning in daily administrative tasks, the answer is almost certainly yes. Right now, every single decision, every random client text, every minor hiccup, it all passes through you. Sure, you're the founder, you're the visionary who started the whole thing, but right now, you are the ceiling. Your business can only grow to the exact limit of what you can physically handle. And let's be real, your capacity is totally maxed out.
Because here is the chaotic reality for so many of us. You are trapped deep in the weeds. You're handling every single phone call, you're manually trying to finalize every single deal, and you're taking absolutely zero real vacations because you're terrified the whole house of cards will collapse if you step away for just one afternoon. You're spending a massive, overwhelming chunk of your day doing tasks that do absolutely nothing to actually scale the business. You're just maintaining.
Okay, so here's our roadmap to get you out of those weeds. We'll be looking at the bottleneck trap, profiling for success, mastering the handoff, and finally, the who, not how mindset. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The bottleneck trap. When doing it all costs you everything. You know, the relentless, crazy drive that gets an entrepreneur off the ground in the beginning is absolutely vital. But eventually, that exact same drive becomes the very thing stunting your growth. Just look at this 80-20 imbalance. It's wild. You are likely spending 80% of your energy on administrative and support tasks, literally things someone else could easily do. And that leaves you with what? A measly 20% of your time for the high-level, revenue-generating strategies that actually require a CEO. If you want to scale up, we have to flip those numbers. Which brings us to a pretty harsh but totally necessary reality check from the source material. Listen to this. You are your own bottleneck. Yep, 100%. Ouch, right? It is really tough to hear, but realizing that true growth requires deliberately stepping out of your own way is your first major breakthrough. Your business simply cannot breathe if you're suffocating it with your need to control every single tiny detail.
Moving on to Section 2, profiling for success. How to hire the right person, not just any person.
Now, once you realize you need help, the temptation is to just hire anyone, but simply throwing a warm body at a problem? That won't fix it. You have to match the behavioral profile to the actual work. For instance, using the DISC personality assessment ensures you don't make a disastrous hiring mistake. I mean, you wouldn't grab a highly interactive, highly social salesperson and stick them in a meticulous, head-down IT or support role, right? No way. They'd get bored out of their minds and make mistakes. You need a steady, detail-oriented person for your admin work and an analytical mind for technical stuff. You absolutely have to match the personality to the exact process. All right, now we have to address the elephant in the room, $50,000. This is almost always the biggest mental roadblock. It requires some serious mental gymnastics for a solo operator to finally commit to a $50,000 base salary for a new, dedicated hire. It just feels like this massive chunk of money flying out of your pocket. But we have to fundamentally change how you view this number.
Because that salary, it isn't a loss, it's an investment. Look at what this 50 grand actually buys you. It literally buys you the freedom to focus purely on your money-making categories. It puts an immediate end to you having to handle every minor client text or petty dispute. It buys you the ability to finally take a real vacation without sitting on the beach with your laptop open. And maybe most importantly, it gives you total peace of mind knowing the back end of your business is completely secured. Basically, you are buying back your own time so you can focus on generating major revenue without burning yourself out.
Section 3, Mastering the Handoff, Systems, Trust, and the Messy Middle of Delegation.
Because finding that right person, that's really only half the battle. Now you actually have to master the systems and genuinely trust your team. There's this incredible anecdote from the coaching session about a founder back in 1996 who finally forces themselves to take a 3-week trip to Portugal. Now, week 1 was terrifying for them, just constantly fighting the urge to micromanage from thousands of miles away. And then an actual emergency happens back home. But guess what? The team, because they were armed with the right systems, handled the fire completely on their own.
When that founder returned, they realized a massive truth. The business didn't just survive without them, it completely thrived.
Let's look at a super concrete example of what delegating actually looks like in the real world. Let's take the closing process of a transaction. Once the initial contract is established by the agent, boom, the file is immediately handed off to a dedicated processor. That processor then handles coordinating all the messy closing details, finalizing the file setups, and here's the kicker. They automatically request the client reviews. By systemizing this handoff, this specific team was able to effortlessly gather over 800 reviews. That is a staggering win. And you simply cannot achieve that level of consistency if you are the one trying to do everything manually.
Look at the comparison here. It is literally night and day. On one side, you have the frantic, do-it-yourself operator. They're stressed out by a text message at 8 p.m., handling every single minor closing detail and working straight through the weekend. On the other side, the true CEO. Now, the CEO still conducts a daily check-in call, just to make sure promises are being kept, of course. But then they actually trust their processor to do the heavy lifting. The CEO scales the revenue. The CEO actually enjoys their family time. It's a completely different and infinitely better quality of life.
Which brings us to our final section, number 4, the who, not how mindset, changing the fundamental question you ask as a leader. This concept right here is the philosophical anchor of our entire discussion today. The who, not how mindset is this pivotal shift where an entrepreneur stops asking, how do I solve this problem myself, and starts asking, who can I hire to solve this problem for me? Your ultimate goal is to build up a roster of highly capable people, so whenever a new challenge pops up or you need to expand operations, you aren't the one spending late nights figuring out the how. You're just tapping your network to find the who.
It really sums up perfectly with this quote. You have to transition into a business professional. Think about it. Clinging to every single task in your business, that's amateur behavior. It's the mindset of a hobbyist, not a leader. Knowing exactly when to delegate, knowing how to build robust systems, and fully trusting the people you've carefully put in place, that is the true mark of a business professional.
So we arrive at our final takeaway for you today. I want you to take a really hard look at your daily operations. Look closely at those specific tasks that drain your energy and prevent you from generating real revenue. Ask yourself right now, who is the next who you need to find to buy back your freedom? Identify that bottleneck today, stop making excuses for why you have to do it all, and start hunting for your next hire. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.